Namaste, my name is Sanat Kumar. Welcome back to the Manana Podcast. Manana is a Sanskrit word that means reflection or contemplation. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my deep, insightful reflections for you to contemplate and hence live a life of fulfillment. I hope you find great value in today's episode. Like the previous episode of the sequel, I address here too only the process of true learning and mastery, not the mass information imposition that the conventional education system does. So this applies only for such processes. I suggest you listen to the previous blog of the sequel. The first key, as I've already mentioned in that episode, the one thing that distinguishes excellent students is the most crucial aspect, devotion. But that takes time. For some, it might have come naturally from the initial stages of learning itself through samskara cultivated by parents. For others, it may take time, longer than we expected or require it to be. Sometimes it may be too late because by then the student would have dropped out of learning that particular craft. So what is the next most important key or aspect that can ensure good results from a student's learning journey? Persistence, resilience, sustainability. You can say grit, you can call it whatever or call it an amalgamation of all that. Basically, the ability to continue the course of action despite difficulty in achieving. Don't take me wrong, I'm not saying you should keep doing what you're not loving or what you're stagnating at. All I'm saying is to broaden your time zone by which you decide whether you are enjoying something or not, or whether you're good at something or not. You just give it some more time before you judge. Because first of all, when you're learning under a master, it's not your job to judge. And two, depending on the craft you're learning, it takes time. Especially if it's not so easy craft, it definitely takes longer than you may have anticipated. But that is an advantage and you must ensure you take it so. I tell to my new students, if it were easy, every home would have a violinist. But that's not the case, right? How many of your friends are violinists? How many of the students at your school or college are violinists? And because it is not easy, its value gets inflated. And three, there will be inequivalent learning capacity and speed among students. Some students take more time, some less. But that doesn't mean you are not fit to learn that craft. It simply means you haven't figured out your way of learning. And even that does not mean you have to abandon that path of learning altogether, right? 4. Aren't you eager to see your potential realized? If you know you are not the worst or that this is not at all possible, which is really the case, wouldn't you want to see your potential realized? If you were to see this learning journey as a movie, wouldn't you want your protagonist to not quit despite all that he or she faces? Now that I've told you why one must give time, now let's come to see how you can do so. What are all the qualities that can contribute to this kind of persistence? 1. Devotion or passion. As mentioned in the last episode of the sequel, if there's devotion, rest will be taken care of. When there is devotion, there is faith. Faith or belief in your master, faith and belief in yourself. 2. Patience. An easily overlooked quality. Especially when one is on the journey of learning something that is infinite, patience is a must-have, right? Sometimes it will be the only quality that helps you continue despite every obstacle and dilemma. 3. Hunger or curiosity. That's what is called a learner's mindset, right? There are two approaches in which this quality must be applied. One, in short term or in a general sense, you need to be curious about how to learn a specific aspect of what you're learning. And that curiosity will transfer to different specific aspects of learning as you learn them. 2, you must be curious as to how this journey pans out. So at least to see how this goes, you'll stick with the journey longer. 4. Viveka. This word is too heavy for this context. If you like to know more, listen to the episode Viveka, the power of objective thinking. However, what you need to know here is that the student must have the capacity to observe one's own process and progress objectively and move accordingly. 5. Problem solving mindset. Once you see the problem, you must have the ability to solve it creatively. I invented many exercises in order to solve various problems I came across in my musical journey. My students get inspired to learn those exercises now. Those were simple creative solutions I found to overcome my obstacles. Viveka itself is the problem solving mindset, but I'm making a separate point here for problem solving to emphasize the action part of it. Just thinking about the problem and coming to a solution to it mentally isn't enough. The problem must be solved, and that requires an action oriented mindset. If you or someone you know is thinking about quitting a journey of lifelong learning, I hope this episode convinced you otherwise. Having something to learn for a lifetime is truly a gift. You may not realize that now, but it will hit you someday. Many youngsters are depressed, confused, or resentful because they lack one thing they do despite any obstacle. And if that one thing is a learning process, then by their prime age, they'll be so clear, composed, courageous, and confident that they do not get trapped in the system, burning their life for the sake of money. To know more about this tragic system, you can listen to the episode The Tragic Drama, and you can listen to the solution in the episode Arise with Awareness. I hope you received excellent value in today's episode. To know more, head over to sanatkumarnebi.com, and if you haven't already, check out my book The Flower of Fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a great day.